I'm Sarah.
Hello.
Oh.
It's a little old school Big Brother intro for y'all
Who's
because
been
we
with
are.
us that long?
Yeah, who remembers that?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm doing that in honor of another BB23 recap for us. We got to talk about Frenchie continuing to be a mess here.
Frenchie being Frenchie. Frenchie. Does that work when I'm like, use it as the F word like in the show?
Right. Oh.
Frenchie. No, it doesn't really fly off the tongue. But first, if you guys are new to this channel, please click. What is it? Okay. Maybe subscribe.
That's a thing.
Subscribe to this channel. Then click like the thumbs the upsies, and that's great.
Yes, and then down in the box below the box that describes things, there's a link to support us on that Patreon.
It's Monday, y'all.
Yeah,
it's Monday. Hey, look what I'm wearing!
Merch.
I got the new design, you guys.
Look, it says spoilers. Spoilers. Like the Z is even on there.
Look, we're gonna say it later. Also. Yeah.
Pillow.
Look how cute this is.
We could take a nap if we wanted.
We do. Let's actually, we should. The way that the show started.
Yeah, we
should probably just take a nap. Yay, you guys. Hi. Whoops, forgot to take this banner off.
Yeah, behind the merch banner. Well, she's doing a lot over here, folks. But sorry that I missed Thursday. My bad.
Rude.
It was a last minute work thing. Unacceptable. Rude. I had a talk with them. I'm not going to let that happen again. But I'm excited to be here for we are recapping the Sunday episode and getting into those spoilers. Like you guys.
We get to sing the song and dance later.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so much to talk about. Let's start with yesterday's episode. We're coming off of that eviction.
Yes.
So we got to talk about some rogue votes.
Yeah, and I think of the beginning of this episode as the Tiffany show because I feel
like this whole episode segment, is the Tiffany show.
I know. They are doing a good job of showing how important she is in the game right now and how well positioned she is and how influential she is. But you're right. They're trying to figure out these hinky votes. People are kind of like, oh, it's probably Derek X. And I liked that Alyssa was the one who was like, they're trying to pin it on him. You guys, like, it was not Derek X. Why would he do that?
Because Alyssa was in that conversation. This is so, I find this odd. Because Alyssa, part of Slaughterhouse, they were talking about, like, if we did a rogue vote, we could pin it on Derek X. And Alyssa was like, yeah, that's such a great idea. And so for her to be the first one to say to other Slaughterhouse members, no, I think they're just pinning it on you. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a change of a tune.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, oh, I think that, Alyssa, that's not how this is supposed to go.
Alyssa, is it right? We're going to do it.
But I love that Tiffany and Derek F., the two who threw the hinky votes, are in the kitchen and they're like, I mean, personally, I don't care where the votes came from.
Like, what does it matter? Who cares?
Who cares? Let's stop talking about it.
Yeah. What does it matter? And you're like, you guys.
Yeah. You don't care because you know where they came from.
Guys.
And then Tiffany's like, I'm just waiting on Frenchie to blab because I'm not telling anybody. And so I know that if this comes out somehow and I hear about it coming out, I'm going to know that it was Frenchie who blabbed about it. And then sure enough, she stumbles into a conversation where Frenchie's like, well, I know who the votes are, but I will never tell. I'm taking that to my grave. And Tiffany's like, well, if you're taking it to your grave, then why are you even saying anything?
Seriously, her face in this moment was like daggers.
Yeah, she had it.
And I can't blame her. Like, are you kidding me? She like hears him basically bragging.
Yeah.
Like, I know who did it.
But you're not getting it out of me.
In the same sentence, and this happens all the time with him. He contradicts in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Why would you say this? You asked me a question. Like, I'm always going to be upfront and be honest with you, but I'm a man of my word and I will not say names. I'm like, I can't compute what you're saying.
Right. I know.
Because it doesn't make sense.
He's a disaster. A disaster. But Tiffany's like already up in Kylan's ear, we see, which, makes sense. They're in the cookout together. Like, they are working together, but she's already up there and she's like, you need to be careful with Frenchie. he's going to like try to influence you, but he cannot be trusted. Kyland is, you know, in the DR telling us like this, she's not the first person. Like Travis also told me about Frenchie. And we see this like flashback to Travis, you know, warning him about Frenchie. So like Frenchie is already, as if he weren't already the target, you know, we're still laying the groundwork here.
I just like had to pause there when Kyland was like, oh, Tiffany and Travis are saying that Frenchie is to watch out for
not
him?
to be trusted.
And I was like, Kyland, yes.
Also, Kyland, he put you on the block. Like,
why is this so hard to see?
Right. I think everybody in the house knows that Frenchie was chaotic energy in week one. So
except Kyland was like, thank goodness these two people told me. I had no idea.
Yeah. How good was this segment with Tiffany and Azza?
This was so great. Well, you're skipping over.
Am I skipping over stuff?
Well, I guess it's not. No, it's really not important. So the next was the HOH room, but I guess screw it.
It was like, whatever. Kind of got emotional with the letter. That was sweet. Tiffany read it.
Okay.
You know, like she really is just continuing this trend of like how well positioned she is.
Yeah.
She's the one who's like, do you want me to read this note for you? Like she's got a good vibe. People are into her. They're like, yes, I trust you to read the letter from my mother, Tiffany. Like I'm gonna text you with that.
Tiffany is playing the best game in the house. I've said it a few times now, and I will keep saying it until they get her out because I love how she's playing a lot. But yeah, this between Azza and Tiffany was so great. And I loved how it was put together because in reality, the feeds had just come back from the eviction night, right?
Yes.
Because they're down for the live show and then they're down waiting for the West Coast to air. So we missed some stuff there, right? And the feeds come back and Tiffany's laying in Oz's lap crying and Twitter's like, what has happened?
Yeah, right.
Our love Tiffany is upset. And then she's jumps up and starts dancing with Ozza and we're all like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So the way they edited this was so cute where they're literally like, no, this is our thing. And she's like, la la la. And Azza like can't keep it together.
I just loved that they like had that moment where Derek X opens the door and they immediately just fall into it. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. They're there. They're there. He backs out. And then they like pop back up and they're laughing. And I'm like, this is so great. I mean, they can't do this the whole game. Like, if they do it too much, people are going to like figure it out. But it's so fun to like see them have this little strategy that's working for them right now to be able to like talk game and have people stay away, you know, and not want to intrude.
Well, yeah, it was like, Tiffany, you're not going to cry about your family every week. Like,
right.
You can't be that person where they're like, she just cries all the time.
Right.
That's not going to work. But yeah, that was so great the way they put that up. Now, you know, an edit isn't everything. Yeah. But what they're really giving us is this like Frenchie storyline. And in this moment, Tiffany is saying to Azza, like, I want Frenchie out. She's mad that he admitted that he knows these votes. She's like frustrated with him. Yeah. She wants him out.
And Azza's like very much working with Tiffany, but she's just not quite as sure that she wants Frenchie on the block because she's still, I mean, at least in the DR, she's like, he's on my team. Like, do I really want a Joker out? You know, like, I think that as much as these teams don't totally matter or really matter much at all in terms of like actual alliances, I think it does matter like having members of your team, because when someone from your team wins safety, you win safety. So you still want to have those numbers, like the greatest chance possible for safety every week. So Oz is like not as convinced as Tiffany that, you know, Frenchie needs to be on the block.
Yeah, they're actually taking these teams more seriously than I imagined. And I guess it does stem from, you know, whoever wins, that whole team is safe. And they're like, great, we want to keep all 4 people so that we have, you know, more of a chance to be safe every week. Right. And it does make sense. They have team meetings. They talk about like, well, of course I'm loyal to my team. Yeah. And stuff like that. So, yeah. But there is definitely talk in reality about Brent and some other people. Yeah. But what we're getting in this edit is very Frenchie heavy. And that makes sense because he gonna go.
Yeah. Then they do the wild card draw, right? Of the players. Yeah. So it's the same deal where they like go off into their teams and discuss. And I believe it's the Aces, again, it's just like, we're going to let fate decide. We don't care. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I had heard them talking ahead of time and they were just like, do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? Like, whatever. Trying to come up with like some sort of strategy, but basically like whatever, fate.
Yeah.
They don't really care. Obviously, Frenchie definitely wants to play.
Yeah.
He has been paranoid since before he lost HOH that he was going to go up. And so he had been telling people for days that he was going to play this wild card comp. This is funny, though. I have to tell you guys, I talked about this, I guess, on Friday's live feed update. But so after days of telling everyone, I'm going to play, I'm going to win, I'm going to play, I'm going to win. He then Friday morning was like, oh, wait, if everyone thinks Brittany, who's also on his team, is going to play, then they won't put their strong players in. He was trying to like stack it so that he could beat people. So he was like, let's tell everyone Brittany's going to play. And so the first person who walked up was Xavier. And he's like, Brittany's going to play. And Xavier was like, oh, really? Does she feel unsafe? And he was like, that has nothing to do with it. It's just like, if, you know, like Alyssa and like, you know, girls are going to play, then the girls just can paddle it out. The girls will just paddle it out. And you're like, that doesn't make sense since the wild card comp is about safety. Yeah. But then I just laughed because the feeds went down for all of this and he didn't have time to implement this plan that wasn't going to work anyway. So yeah, he's going to play. He's going to play. Yeah. And everyone on his team is like, more than fair. Yeah. Frenchie, you probably need to play more than anybody else. Great. And then on the Kings, it's Sarah Beth, who is not necessarily. She's being pretty smart here. Yeah, because she's not necessarily feeling in danger, right? No, but she's wanting to. Number one. Yeah, so she's feeling. I mean, she says in the DR, like, I want to prove myself as a competitor, and you know, worthy to be worked with, which I think she does kind of need for her game right now. Like, she's not in a ton of alliances. I don't know that people are really. They're not looking at her as like someone they want to boot, which is good because, like, I think she's someone that. In previous seasons were at another cast, like she's the type that they might be like, you're not really fitting in, so you can go. Right. She's not that, but she's not also not someone that people are like coming to with game information or taking particularly seriously. So I think it's a good strategy for her to like show what she's got here. I think that she has just the right amount of people who are trying to talk to her though. Okay. I mean, her and Kylan have a final two. They're the closest. And then she's with Tiffany and Ozza. The jackpot, right? Yeah. So, you know, yeah, she's not all over the place, but like, I feel okay about where she is. But I was really happy to see her saying, like, I do want to get some power here. I want to keep things away from Frenchie. Like, just thinking strategically how, you know, she could do this. And so, great. She's going to play against Fate, which is Brent. Yeah, which is interesting because his name, like you said, has been thrown out there a little bit. And he was like Frenchie's number one ally last week. So, you know, if I were to pick anybody from the Aces team who should play, it was Brent. So interesting that Fate allowed him to play as well against Frenchie. Now, before we play the comp, we're just going to get a little conversation here between Frenchie and Kylan. Frenchie's gonna Frenchie here. Yeah. Okay. So he's up in the HOH trying to do the work and it's not going the way that he wanted. Kylan is not making enough eye contact with him. Okay. First off, Kylan doesn't make eye contact always. So that means nothing. Right. Let's just say Frenchie came in paranoid. He's already been paranoid for at least 24 hours at this point. Yeah. And so the fact that Kylan said, I'm not going to give anyone any information, and he just sort of nodded along. He's a talker, so that didn't really work. But he did it well with Frenchie of just being like, I'm not going to say anything. Well, paranoia through the roof. Okay. Frenchie marches down that spiral staircase and announces the slaughterhouse to the kitchen, right? Where Derek X is, right? Yes. This is what I'm seeing. And he's like, I'm out of the slaughterhouse. I'm done. He walks into another room, points at Whitney and says, I'm done. So Brent, there are other people in that room. So they're all scrambling, like trying to come up with like, what do I say in this moment? Because other people are watching. And Whitney is the one we see in the episode is like, Frenchie, get in this room over here with me. We need to talk. And she's done with him. okay, before we talk about that absurd conversation that he has with Whitney, I just feel like how to blow up your game 101.
Truly.
Right here. What happened?
Yeah.
He spins himself, and we saw it week 1 while he was HOH.
Yeah.
He spins himself into a tizzy.
Yep.
And then just storms through a house and openly says, I'm out to his closest allies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do you not understand that your numbers and your alliance mean something at this point? No, obviously he doesn't. Okay, so Whitney's like, okay, hi. What you doing?
Yeah.
Can we get this together?
Like, take it down a notch.
And he, is just being, his dramatic self. Yeah. Although he's saying, I don't want drama. And she's like, well, then why are you being dramatic and gross here? Yeah. And then he says it's time for a lawnmower. Okay.
Whitney's like, I put up with you last week because you were the HOH?
Yeah.
That's over.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not working with you anymore. You're right, Frenchie. I'm done. This is done. And then Frenchie's with Brent in the bathroom, right?
Right.
And I didn't really get this from the conversation that I saw. I'm sure that, there's more to this conversation than we see in the episode. But Brent leaves the conversation and he's saying, like, Frenchie wants me to throw this wild card to him. I don't know that we ever heard Frenchie say that, but that's the vibe that Brent is getting. Like, Frenchie's just talking about, like, I'm in danger, like, come on, help me out, whatever. And so Brent is like, Frenchie wants me to throw this wildcard competition, and that is not happening. I am not doing that.
Right. And Sarah Beth did tell us on the feeds that he also asked her to throw it as well. And they said, wait, he asked you? And she was like, well, he hinted at it. Yeah. So it's the same vibe of, like, he didn't say, will you throw this? But he was like, I need this. I need to win this. I'm in trouble. Like, basically asking for them to throw it. Yeah. And obviously both of them were like,
no.
Meow.
Yeah.
So then we get to watch this comp, and so do the house guests. That's fun.
Yeah, that was fun. This is my nightmare.
David, how did you feel about this comp?
This comp, I hate color comp. I just imagine, like, if I were on Big Brother, I don't know what I'd do.
Right. You would have to talk to them ahead of time and be like, you can't do color comps, guys.
I guess, but, like, color comps are in every season of Big Brother. But come on, make it a pattern comp or something. Right.
They can be creative and come up with something else if there's anyone with colorblind issues.
Yes, thank you.
They have to. I'm shocked it hasn't come up yet.
I will say this one was not as hard for me as color comps have been in the past. It was really the first one that I was like, I would not be able to do this. Where Sarah Beth was like, the polka dots are pink. I was like, I don't know what color the polka dots are. An exclamation mark? Like, no, I have no idea. I gotta
be honest. The very first one was the exclamation.
Yeah.
And that one was so very obvious. Like, even I got that one. Because, like, you just look at the first picture and that exclamation was like a contrasting popping
because
color.
I was looking at the G in Zing, trying to figure if the G was a different color than the ZIN. That was what I was doing the whole time. Staring at that G, like, is that a different shade of whatever? And then she said pink polka dots, and I was like, I'm out. I would not be able to tell you.
But it's still a complicated, color aside. It was complicated to know, like, what's the question going to be? Like, what am I memorizing here? Because there was, like, one that had, like...
all those ducks with, like, different colored ducks on different colored backgrounds. And I was trying to figure out, like, how many yellow ducks are there? How many light blue backgrounds are there? Like, you don't know what the question's going to be.
Right. And I was memorizing, like, the backyard green and red reveal, like, whatever that one was.
Pink Showmance.
Yeah. And then the question was, like, what color was under green? And I was like, well, that was not what I was looking at.
Yeah, I got that one now.
You got that one. All right. There you go.
So some of it I can handle. But they each get one, right? The first three, basically, they each get one. And it's a matter of, like, if, multiple people get it right, it's the person who gets it fastest who gets the point. So after 3, they're all tied 1-1. So it's like a comp, like, ooh, who's going to pull this out? Sarah Beth. The next 2.
She was like, no more for you guys. Yeah. I got this. And she's like, boom, boom. I'll take this.
She's the winner.
And I'll take 2 big targets and make sure that you guys can't play wild card anymore. You're done.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, it doesn't really matter for Frenchie because
I think he's leaving.
Yeah. But then I was kind of like, this is BS, this offer to her.
I loved it.
Because here's the deal. It's like we talked about last time. You got to make it an offer that they'll actually consider. I think if they had made so the offer is you won safety, but you have to switch places with someone on the Queen's team, and you both become permanent members of each other's team. And this person who was safe on the Queen's team is now eligible for elimination.
Right, because they've swapped over to another team. Right. They're not safe anymore.
Right. I don't think anybody's going to take that deal. I think they would have considered it if it were just swap teams. And I think that that's like maybe an interesting enough dynamic, like power shift, whatever, to be worth it for the game wise, right? Like it's not nothing for 2 people to switch teams because like you've already kind of made these bonds with these people. And I think that's interesting. I think if they'd said you have to swap teams and both of you are safe, like this other person doesn't lose safety, I think Sarah Beth would have considered it more. Sure. But it was just too much for her to take on. And so she was like, I can't do all that.
I hear what you're saying because we both felt like the first one that they gave Frenchie 2 weeks of safety, like he was never going to take it. And that was so disappointing. Like give them a good offer to make them risk that.
Yes.
But I actually felt the opposite for this one because like safety is such a prize, right?
Yeah.
To make it really hard. Okay, if you want safety, you got to move over here and then tick someone else off. Because like if it had been Frenchie, he would have done it, right? If it was someone who really needed safety. Now, Sarah Beth didn't need safety this week,
Good
right?
Point.
But if it had been Frenchie, he would have moved over to the Queens. One of Claire or Tiffany would have become unsafe. And that would have stirred up drama, would have been great.
Yeah.
But I also like the option of, well, then you don't get safety.
Yeah.
So I was excited, like, haha, someone's going to not take safety, which is always a risk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I guess it was specifically that Sarah Beth won it because, like, I think it was pretty easy for her to say no to this. Because it was too much drama with the person losing their safety and switching teams and all that. And she also individually didn't really need safety. She was just playing to prevent Frenchie from getting safety. Right. So it was an easy pass for her because she's so close with Kyland. I think she knew there's like no chance that he's going to put me up.
But like, what if Brent had won? He's so team oriented. He would have been like, oh, I don't know if I should leave my team. He might not have taken it. And then he might have been the nom this week. Like it could have gone that way. And that would have been so exciting that someone didn't take safety.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still liked it.
Yeah. I guess when you think about like, it really depends on the person. Whether there were definitely some people who would take the deal and then potentially some people who wouldn't take the deal, not realizing that they're actually potentially a target and that backfiring on them.
Oh, that would have been delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like when Frenchie didn't take 2 weeks of safety and he gets evicted on the second.
Should have taken it.
What?
That's right.
Karma. Hello.
Oh boy. But then we get our one-on-ones, right? Kyland is like cycling through people up in the HOH room.
You guys, Kyland is an executive, and he ran this like some executive meetings. He was like, guys, you get 5 minutes, teams will get 10 minutes. You keep the time because if we go over, it comes out of your time. So you, like, he was so strict. I was like, God, I got to get my water. I got to be here. I got to get ready.
Right, got to use the bathroom before I go in there.
I was like, okay. But so we mostly just get the Tiffany.
Yeah.
And then we get like a montage.
Because she sets the stage of Frenchie's gotta go. Like we already saw her say it earlier on in the episode. And here she is like, he's gotta go, Kyland. We cannot trust him. And then it's a montage of everybody else being like, you know, Frenchie. Oh God, that Frenchie HOH. Am I right? You know, it's just like person after person after person saying Frenchie, Frenchie, Frenchie. And then Brittany comes in.
Okay. let's break this down because this is not like, I don't know, like the edit can't show everything. I get that. And they're telling a story.
They have to tell us the story that gets us to the nomination.
Right, exactly. They can't tell us a story that doesn't end up happening.
That's right.
And so I should just be grateful that it was Tiffany's episode.
Yeah.
And they used what she said, even though this is not what she said at all. She actually said, don't put Frenchie up. She was like, yes, Frenchie is a chaotic mess. You probably think I'm going to say put him up, but actually there's a 3-headed monster, Frenchie, Brent, and Whitney.
Yeah, she does say that.
So she says, keep Frenchie feeling safe, make him feel great that you didn't put him up, and you put up Brent and Whitney. And then Kylan was like, shouldn't we work with Brent and Whitney? And she was like, ah! She was like, you can't work with a snake. You're waiting to get Beth. She said a lot of that stuff. But the point was 3-headed monster and fine, put up Frenchie.
Yeah.
Whatever.
As soon as she's like, oh, Kylan is not taking the bait here on Brent and Whitney, she's like, pivot, Frenchie.
Yeah. Then a whole bunch of people say Frenchie.
Yeah.
Which actually came before Tiffany. And then poor Brittany.
Oh, God.
Didn't get the memo to throw Frenchie under the bus. But what she said was still valid.
It is a
like,
completely valid point. But it's bad when it's in the context of everybody else saying Frenchie. It starts to feel like, are you trying to protect Frenchie? And I think, there's an element of, you got to know when you just have to throw that person under the bus. As much as you want to keep your team member there, you need to read the house. And if everybody else is going to be saying Frenchie, maybe you need to hop on that bandwagon.
Okay, I have more to say about that, but first we have to say thank you, and we have to go.
All right. Thank you for the super chat. Super chat.
Okay, points if anyone understands what we just did, but RSI. Spoilers, it's coming.
It's coming soon.
That's right. Okay, we knew Brittany was going up because Brittany is the one and only person that Kylan is not officially aligned with. He's got Slaughterhouse, he's got the Cookout, and he's got the Firefighters with Derek X.
So that's literally everybody.
Literally one person he's not aligned with. It was going to be Brittany. So this is just like, I'll use this as an excuse kind of thing. She didn't throw him under the bus. What? Guess what? Xavier didn't throw Frenchie under the bus either. Guess what?
Yeah.
Brent didn't throw him under the bus either. He was like, oh, Frenchie's a little chaotic. But, it's...
Kylan went into that meeting with Brittany.
Yeah.
And he said, I got to come out of this with something. Some reason to put her on the block. And he found it. He was like, you're putting up you're bringing up these duos, these showmances. Again, I agree with you, Sarah, that absolutely these showmances need to go, and Brittany is making fair points, but that is what Kylan is going to use. Like, what is this blind loyalty to this man that everybody else in the house wants out, who was so chaotic on week 1? Who are you trying to protect? Brittany? So he uses that as his excuse to nominate Frenchie and Brittany.
Yeah, and Brittany's not in a lot of groups. She doesn't have a ton of info, but she is on the same team as Frenchie. But I just want to say PSA to everybody, especially if you don't watch feeds.
Yeah.
She's not loyal to Frenchie. She learned he threw her under the bus like day 2.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that clear that she's not loyal to him. But it doesn't matter. Here we are.
Here we are. It's the time.
For noms?
For spoiler. I said that he nominated Frenchie and Brittany.
So officially they are nominated. And then, yes, now it is time. Spoilers.
Yes.
I mean, are you doing jazz hands or is that just
I'm doing
fingers?
Fingers, okay. But maybe I'll switch over to jazz hands.
We gotta mix it up.
Yeah, have our own things. Yes, yeah. Okay, so Frenchie continues his tour of self-destruction. Frenching it up. Before they even play the veto, he's telling everybody to use the veto on Brittany. He even tells Brittany that he will use the veto on Brittany, which she's like, yeah, right. But he's just full on, like, kind of rolling over, giving up.
But no, he's not giving up. Let's not give him that credit.
I was about to say, like, this is actually, some people use this as a strategy, right?
Right.
And maybe that's what Frenchie is doing. But he's like, to me, taking it a step further of like, I'm going to quit. I want to leave. I don't want to be stuck in a sequester.
You guys, if you didn't hear, I don't think he actually tried to quit. My theory is this is all performance, right?
Okay.
He swings from this way to this way to that way to this way.
Ooh.
So he swung to like, Brittany, don't worry. I'm the target. And I'll even take you out if I have to.
Right.
And then he doesn't, guess what? He doesn't win veto. So by that night, he was like, I'm done. I'm the target. I know. I'm just going to leave now. I'm going to leave now. Well, he said that to Whitney first. And Whitney was like, what are you apologizing? Or like, he didn't apologize, but he was like, man, I just, feel bad. And she's like, yeah, tell me what it is that you did here. And she didn't give him that like validation that he's looking for. He's looking for that, like, it's okay. We love you. Oh my God, no, don't leave. And so then he like runs to Derek F, who's basically his boyfriend, and is like, I'm leaving. I can't be here anymore. And then Derek F is the only one that'll give him that love and be like, no, please don't do it. Don't do this. Like, sleep on it. Stay. And he's like, I'm not. And he like heads into the diary room. Yeah. 20 minutes later, he's back. It's not happening.
Back. But he's like packing his bags. He's talking about goodbye messages. Like, please don't say mean goodbye messages because my kids are going to be watching. He's talking about like, I don't want to do a battle back. All this. He's just being so dramatic about everything, which is what he does. You're right. It's just Frenchie being Frenchie.
It's all performance art.
Yeah.
Is what I'm convinced about. You get another song. Here we go. Thank you for the super chat. Super chat. Mark Wilson. You should probably sing your name. Mark Wilson.
And thank you.
Right?
Thank you. I do it for you guys. I know this pandemic really changed the way I looked.
Well, you were changing the way you looked before the pandemic.
That's true. I was trying to change. So Frenchie's doing all of this. We do the veto players, Claire, DX, and Alyssa. The 3 drawn in addition to our 2 nominees and Kyland. And Derek X wins again, the veto king.
So king.
He better be careful. He needs to not win another veto. Unless he's like the nom, right? Like, stop winning this. Why are you winning all these vetoes?
I hear you. Yes, it's dangerous to win all these vetoes, but he's been in such a crappy spot in this house.
Yeah.
Like, they have been trying to gaslight him. They have been like, you would be gone if it's not for me. Like, he's just been in such a bad spot that I feel like, win some stuff and show them that you're a good competitor, you're a good teammate. Earn your stripes kind of thing, because for some reason they like pushed you down into the trash can and it's just like, what? So I'm okay with it right now. Yeah.
I just feel like he needs to be careful. How many he's winning and I think they're already kind of alluding to it in the house a little bit. Like individuals are telling him like, maybe you don't need to win another one of these. Like, just be careful, so you don't want it to turn into this thing where it's like, okay, we have to backdoor Derek X because
you do.
I mean, you do. I guess they already know that.
Get ready. You're going to have to. He's going to be here for a minute, guys. But they're okay with him being there for a minute. Derek X, after he wins, does talk to Kyland. And they do talk things out. And Frenchie had already like tried to get into Kyland's ear about like, use it on Brittany or me, whatever. Like, just use it, And Kyland was like, sorry, buddy, not going to happen.
Yeah, because there was a weird thing where Frenchie was like, oh, I want you to take Brittany down and put up a guy so that we're guaranteeing that another man is going or something. I was like, it was one of those things where it's like, Frenchie, what are you talking about?
No, y'all, this was so gross. That happened today where Frenchie said, like, this is the chump way out, putting her next to me. Like, let me go out like a man.
Okay, so
put another man next to me so I can go out like a man. It was so gross. I was beyond offended.
Yeah.
But again, he's all over the place, like left, right, and center. Like, I can't keep up. But here we go again.
Thank you for the super chat.
Seth Downing.
Sarah's always reinventing it. I can't keep up.
Thank you, Seth.
Thanks, Seth. Okay, so Derek X does not use the veto. Oh yeah, also this. Thank you.
Also,
Seth,
Discord patrons.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It's quite good. Thank you very much. Yes, Derek X wins the veto. He does not end up using it, even though there's like conversation about and I think it was like pretty clear all along he was not going to use it.
Yeah, it was a really nice weekend of feeds where it wasn't like back and forth. Oh my gosh, now this, now someone else is going to come in and talk. And like, there was a brief moment where right after Derek won the veto that Azza was pitching to Tiffany, like, great, let's have Derek use it on Brittany and put Brent up. And because Azza really wants Brent out.
Yeah.
She actually was not aiming for Frenchie right now.
Well, yeah.
And so they gave that information to Brittany, and Brittany tried to go into Kylan, and Kylan was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Because Kylan, part of the reason he wants Frenchie out is he wants the chaos to end, right? And it's always so funny to me when people are like, oh, if we just get this one person out, the house is going to calm down. No, it's not. You're going to find a new common enemy. Somebody else is going to emerge. There are other chaotic people just right below the surface. Frenchie's just the one that's most in your face right now. So that's kind of a silly thing of like, everything's going to be so much better once Frenchie leaves. I do think that Frenchie is like a special brand of unpredictable that is good to get out of the house at some point. But I like the way that Christian, Derek F., and even Azza are thinking right now in terms of like, maybe we keep Frenchie as a shield. You know, I think Tiffany pushes back on Azza and she's like, Frenchie's actually not a good shield because he's too unpredictable. But if I were in the house, like that's the way that I would try to think, like as much as I hate this person, they're a constant target and they take the attention away from any threat that I pose, you know? So I like the way that those people are thinking.
I agree completely the opposite.
Oh.
I feel like had they started with that, that's fine. If Frenchie hadn't been the target this week and they had targeted Brent this week, that's fine. Save Frenchie for the next week or two. I get that. But if you start one way and you put a big, I'll use Frenchie's words, if you put a big fish up, like Frenchie, don't midstream change your target and say, okay, we'll keep Frenchie and we'll go after Brent, because now Frenchie is armed with, he can hate everyone and put up anyone at any time. If he were to stay. I mean, he'll promise everything this week of like, no, you keep me, I'll be loyal to you. But he's got the ammo to go even more crazy than he already did. So I just feel like if you start with a big target, follow through and build up your army, get your numbers together, which they have been, to go after Brent next week or your next big fish, whatever that is.
I guess I miss, and this doesn't work in this situation because so many people in the house went up to Kylan and said, put Frenchie up. But I kind of miss those days of the HOH putting their noms up, and then the house doesn't necessarily do what the HOH wants, right? Like the house makes their own decisions. So the house, maybe Kylan put up Frenchie and Brittany and then had to rename Brent as a nominee, and the house decides, okay, actually we want to go after Brent because it's not up to you, Kylan. That scenario, like I said, doesn't work here because the house was targeting Frenchie actively and collectively. But I'm just into the idea of like, oh, Kylan, you thought that we were all going to get Frenchie out for you, but we decided that he's actually good for our game and we're going to go just get Brent out this time instead.
And if that were really, then great. If it was someone that they were like, oh no, he's really loyal to us, like let's keep him and let's change the target, like sure, that happens. But to have this many people be like, this guy is off his rocker, he really is a detriment to your game. He's going to
nobody can trust him. Literally nobody in the house can trust him. Yeah, you guys are asking about this was okay. Well, so at one point, Frenchie today decided that, because people are asking like, what happened and why'd you do these things and why'd you get caught in this lie? But you said this and they said this. It's a lot of that happening. And so finally today, Frenchie was like, look, I was dealing with some personal stuff. I got some family stuff. That's honestly what it was. I didn't want to tell anybody.
But that's really what was happening. And then he was like, okay, fine. You want me to tell you? No, nobody asked. But you want me to tell you? All right. Stop recording this because I don't want my son exploited. And then boom, they stopped the feeds because he started talking about family stuff. That's like, usually you don't ask the feeds to turn off, but if you do,
the director of the show,
right? But if you do start to say sensitive stuff about your family, they will turn the feeds off. So he went into some story about his family. We can assume certain things, but anyway, he said that he had some family drama that hit him on day 3.
Okay.
And that's why everything.
That's why he's been acting like a crazy
That's
person.
why his game went down the toilet.
Okay.
It's because of a family
Sure.
situation.
Great. Well, I'll never know if that's true. And,
of course it's not true. He came in crazy.
Really
there was no change on day 3.
Yeah.
He came in telling people his game, promising everyone safety.
Yeah.
Making big, grand statements, going against them.
He's grasping at straws.
Then spiraling.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought he was going to be nominated before he even lost his HOH ship.
Mm-hmm.
Then someone from his alliance won HOH, and he still thought he was the target. Like, any normal person would be like, great, my alliance member just won HOH. Mm-hmm. Let's together decide who the target is. Like, none of that happened.
No.
So, again.
So now Frenchie's like, I saw when I was on my way over here, he's like on the feeds talking about like kids generally. You can change the world. You got to follow your dreams. Like, he's giving these like impassioned speeches to American children about how they're the future. And Xavier's in the background, just like peeling a banana or something. Like, he just really is trying to make some kind of mark on BB history on his way out the door.
Honey, you did.
You did, but not the way that you want.
You are a legend, Brandon French. You will go down in history as the next Devin. We haven't had a Devin in several seasons. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
You made history with one of the worst HOHs we've ever seen.
Yep.
It's quite entertaining.
Mm.
And to see you go out on the second one is just like chef's kiss.
It's true. I mean, people will reference Frenchie. Like, this is an archetype now that people will be like, oh, this person's having a very Frenchy HOH or whatever. Like, this is sort of a standard that he's setting.
Next season, they're all going to be like, don't be a Frenchie.
Yeah.
Don't French it up. Oh, yeah. We'll all be like, don't be a Frenchie.
Yeah.
You know, for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
We'll remember this.
We will.
And again, people were like, oh, he's a little off his rocker, but they were not targeting him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, he's going to stick around a little while. But yet he was like, hold my beer.
Mm-hmm.
I will make it worse for myself.
Yeah.
And get myself out of here next time.
And I just have to say, Busy Blue, if you're watching.
Uh-oh.
You were real confident about Frenchie in that draft. You were like, you know what? I see something that none of you see in Frenchie, and I'm going to draft him in the 3rd round. I'm not going to leave anybody with Frenchie. I want him on my team.
Busy chose him, and we said,
okay, you can have him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go right ahead, sir. And he did.
He did, yes. Now, a few other things I want to talk about aside from the disaster that is Frenchie. Number 1. Brittany has a rap prepared for a speech to which I say, dear God.
Yes, I say, let's do it, Britt.
I don't know if it's the speech for the veto meeting or if it's the speech for the eviction night, but we will see what Brittany's rap
I hope it comes with a TikTok dance.
I'm sure it will.
I love it.
So there's that. Also, Christian and Alyssa are now officially Showmance. Woo! After her being like, I would never. Like, what? Never. It's day 3. I'm not here for a Showmance. And now she's actually naming the Showmance with him. It's Chrysalis. And they think that America wants it. America loves it. We've been waiting for it. Please give it to us.
I mean, same thing. Like we're sending a Frenchie a power to save them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys are spot on with what America wants.
Yes. You are tapped in to what we want.
I love it. So today, for some reason, because Kylan's running this like an executive, he had team meetings post veto ceremony to check in with everyone. He basically was like, look, you don't have to make promises because, don't get caught breaking any promises. But I just want to like open the door here. Does anyone want to make promises? And they were like, yeah, like you're safe with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, what are we doing, Kylan?
What are we doing, Kylan?
He's so sweet, but I don't understand sometimes what he's doing. But at one point, he started revealing information because even though he doesn't like to reveal information, he's a talker.
Yeah.
So he's revealing information about. I think he also was trying to throw Brittany under the bus because he wants Brittany out.
Yeah.
But he was like to Alyssa and Alyssa, Christian, Xavier, and Sarah Beth. That's a team. So they're all there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah. And there was somebody else who wanted to go against the duos. So they brought up you. And Alyssa's like, well, you better tell me the name. I'm going after that person. And he's like, yeah, if you win HOH, I'll tell you the name or whatever. He was like, but it wasn't just, you guys as a duo. It was the other duo too. And Alyssa goes, there's another duo? And he was like, right. You don't know. Yes. You don't know who Alyssa and Christian are in their own world much. Or maybe she also thinks that she's toying with Brent too. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
But she had no idea that Brent and Whitney were considered a duo. Like she was so dumbfounded that Kylan eventually said it. He was like, you don't see Brent and Whitney as a duo? Yeah. And she was like, do they talk game? And I was like, oh my God, they're on the same team? Yeah. What are you talking about? And then he was like, 90% of the time I see them, they are together. Like they're a duo. Alyssa, I believe Alyssa has the worst reads on the house.
Yeah, which is too bad. She was my first or second draft pick. I was like, she was the one for me where I was like, you're underestimating her. Yeah. I'm picking her early. She's been watching BB since she was 11 years old.
I do remember saying, really, David?
That apparently doesn't always translate to picking up on social cues. And then the last thing is related to these showmances. We've already talked about, I love Tiffany and Azza as a little duo here. Yeah. I loved that segment that they got in this episode. And there have just been some talk between the two of them about we need to get these showmances out pre-jury. And I love that line of thinking because like so often these showmances make it further than they should. People don't take them as seriously as they need to. And then they really start to cause a lot of damage later on in the game. So I love that Tiffany and Azza are having these conversations about like pre-jury for all four of these people.
Yeah, I love it too. I mean, if anyone is willing to make their duo, whatever, if it's a showmance or if it's two guys or two girls, like whatever it is, like Tiffany and Azza are doing a great job of keeping theirs on the down low. But like if you're willing to out publicly that you're a duo at all, one of them has to go pre-jury. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. Break them up.
You know what, Mark? Kylan is a Cancer, the other water sign. So yes, it makes absolute sense that a Pisces would love Kylan. He is a sensitive little water boy. You can see it.
Love it. All right, that's all I have for spoilers.
You had a lot of spoilers there.
I just wanted to talk about some stuff with you guys.
Yes. Well, I want to just mention that there is, they heard me.
Okay.
They're getting their numbers together and planning ahead. Taking this time where they don't have to be frazzled by a crazy HOH. They're taking this time to look ahead. And there is a good plan in the works for moving forward to get Brent out. Enough people want Brent out that teams are discussing who they're willing to throw the HOH to. Derek X, who's on Brent's team, has mentioned he will throw it if, the right people are still playing, if he can, so that, if he were HOH, Brent would be safe and that wouldn't be a possibility. So he understands that he's a part of that. Sarah Beth is going to take it for her team if she can. Okay. And then because Alyssa and Christian are on that team and they don't want to pull the trigger on Brent. They wouldn't target Brent at all, but enough people have brought it up that they're like, okay, if Brent's the target, that's fine. We'll just let other people do it.
Yeah.
And then they know, Christian and Alyssa also know if Claire or Tiffany.
Yes.
Together they're
Cliffany.
If they're still up, Alyssa and Christian can throw it to them.
Got it.
And they're all on board for this, multiple teams working together.
Interesting.
Which I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Brent has like been better at this game than I expected, but he's just too publicly good. Like people are aware of the goodness. Like when you've got Tiffany saying, I respect your game, that's actually not a compliment. That's a threat. It's like,
Brent?
I got to get you out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's great at the game because he's not like thinking strategically.
But he's good at influencing people.
But yeah, he's a bit of a gaslighter.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely loyal to his team. He would have been loyal to Slaughterhouse if anyone could have kept that together. So like he does have some decent qualities to make him a decent player.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cliffany, not Cliffhawk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested to see, obviously you don't know what the HOH comp is going to be. It's hard to know if you can even throw it,
Right.
But they're saying like, if it's a wall or something like that in endurance where it's like, who's left hanging, you can jump.
That was another thing I loved reading was, Frenchie thought, if it's the wall next week, like I'm going to be so sad to miss it. And Sarah Beth was like, I think it's the wall. Like just salting the wound.
Poke. I don't think it's the wall. The wall doesn't never.
That's usually later.
Yeah, it's a third week, the wall. Like it might be something slightly endurance-y or physical, because we haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
But no, they're not getting the wall yet. Everyone take a breath.
Yeah.
But they're all like, it's probably the wall.
It's the wall.
Who's got the body type? Who's going to do the wall?
Yeah.
Who can win the wall?
Who's got the low center of gravity?
Yeah. Cute Derek X, who we've talked about, is a recruit. He does not know how to play this game at all. But like he's smart enough to be like, let me figure it out. So at one point when Kylan was talking about the wall, Derek was like, well, how does this work? And like, give me the tips. Like, how do I prepare for that? Like he's smart enough to be like, what is it that I need to know? I wish he had studied before he came in.
I know.
Because then he might actually be like a dangerous player.
Yeah. Alas.
That's it, you guys. Frenchie's a hot mess like usual.
And he's probably going to go.
He's 99% going. Like, I
know there's like 3 days between now and the eviction, but I would be shocked if he doesn't go.
It's just like people aren't even talking about it because it's so set.
Right.
And
I think it's more a matter of like, is he going to self-evict before Thursday? That seems more likely to me than him not getting voted out come eviction night.
Can you guys imagine being a super fan?
And self-evicting?
He applied several times. He finally got here, won the first HOH, and then self-evicting week 2. Like,
yikes.
Whoa, that would be so
That is not a
embarrassing.
legacy.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really would. I think he just needs people to be like, oh no, we love you,
stay.
Frenchie.
Right.
So he just says these things to get that reaction.
Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of a push, like we said, with Ozzo, with Derek F, of just like, do we want to get Frenchie out? Like, what can we do with this veto? But because the veto was not used today, Brittany and Frenchie are still on the block. There's not really anything anyone can do. Yeah. Because how do you push for Brittany to go?
Yeah.
You just can't.
You can't.
So he's going to go.
Yep.
That's going to be that. That's it. We just have to listen to him for the next couple days.
Yeah.
Talking about that he was here for charity and
sure.
But he gets to go see his babies.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we're just going to look ahead for next HOH and see how that goes. Because if these people can really take out these targets they want, wow.
I know.
Wow.
I'm liking it so far.
The season's so good.
It is. Thank God.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Finally, I get a compliment. They're all to David.
No, I told Sarah, I was like, Sarah's like my hair. I know. It just is what it is. And I was like, I think it looks good.
Thank you. It's sticking up and I don't care.
It's a messy bun.
It's a messy
It's a look.
bun. It fits my life. It's a messy life. You know, I'm just as messy as Frenchie.
Not true.
I'm just as messy as these feeds, you guys. Totally. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us live in the chat.
Yes, with our pillow.
We really appreciate it.
We do. And if you're joining us later, these pillows are available on that website that's in the banner right there. Check it out. You get that shirt. There's mugs. There's
I forgot my mug.
thermoses, all kinds of stuff. And if you are...
Thank you. He's lovely.
Oh, he's good. He's downstairs right now. Yeah. He let me in the house today. But yes, also if you're watching later, make sure you leave us a comment and let us know what you think about the episode and also all these delicious spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, do you want Frenchie to go this week, or would you
Yes.
have preferred they switch to Brent?
Yeah, curious what you think.
There's two different opinions,
Yeah.
and I can understand any of them.
That's right.
That's okay. I will be back tomorrow for live feed spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, my special guest is Jolene joining me for Wednesday's recap.
Jealous.
And then Thursday, I don't know, David, are you
I'm going to show up this
Thursday?
time. Yes.
Get them, guys.
Yes,
Get them.
I will.
Okay, great. Yay. And then, of course, Friday is live feeds as well.
Yes.
So I will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.